Hello and welcome to the Unit 1 review. This is the Unit 1 review on Earth's surface. So I just want to go over a few things that you want to make sure that you know for this assessment. Make sure first of all that you can describe the basic components of Earth's system. So that was what you learned in your Lesson 2, Spheres of the Earth. You learned that the atmosphere was all of the gases that surround the Earth. The biosphere is all living things. The lithosphere includes all the land. Hydrosphere is all water, no matter what state, so liquid or solid. And then the magnetosphere is that magnetic field that surrounds the Earth. And it is also what allows our auroras to occur, so the northern and southern lights. Make sure that you can explain latitude and longitude. Make sure you know that latitude are those lines that lay flat, and it is going to be distances north and south of the equator. Longitude are those long lines or the vertical lines that run from pole to pole, and so they're going to measure distances east and west of the prime meridian. In a set of coordinate points, make sure that you know the first number is always your line of latitude, so it's going to be north or south. The second number is your line of longitude, and that is going to be east or west. If you know that, that'll really help you in locating things with your coordinate points. Also know the basic features of your map, the scales, the keys and symbols, and all of that. Make sure you know the basics of a topographic map. So you learned about a topographic map in Lesson 3 and 4, and that is your map that shows elevation. So make sure you know what you would use a topographic map for. Then you learned about weathering and erosion. So make sure you know the different types of weathering. You have mechanical weathering and you have chemical weathering. Make sure you know specific examples of each of those. So for instance, mechanical weathering is breaking down of rocks into smaller pieces, but nothing actually changes with the physical makeup of the rock. An example would be if you took a pencil and you broke it. You now have smaller pieces, but you still have two pieces of a pencil. Nothing has changed with the makeup of those smaller pieces. Whereas chemical weathering is going to be breaking rocks down into smaller pieces, but you're going to have a chemical change in the rock. The actual makeup of the rock is going to change. An example of that would be like acid rain. It actually breaks down the rock and changes the makeup of the rock. Or oxidation. That is when the oxygen in the air reacts with the iron in the rock and causes it to rust. You're actually getting a chemical change in the rock. So that would be chemical weathering. So make sure again that you know specific examples of mechanical and chemical weathering. And then the last thing is in the soils of the earth, make sure that you know about porosity and permeability. Those are really easy to get mixed up, so make sure in your notes that you have what each of those are. So for instance, porosity is how much water the soil can hold. How much water the soil can hold. So if it holds a lot of water, then it would have a high porosity. If it can only hold a little bit of water, then you would have low porosity. So if it holds a lot of water, and you can see in this example here, that's holding a lot of water, that would be high porosity. If it only holds a little bit, then that would be low porosity. Okay? So I'm just making notes here. Holds a little bit of water. And if it holds a lot, that would be high porosity. And then permeability is how fast the water flows through the soil. So if it flows through quickly, that would be high permeability. If it flows through the soil slowly, that would be low permeability. So examples of your different types of soils and what kind of porosity or permeability they have is something like, and if I can get that to move out of our way here, there we go. Something like sand. Sand does not hold a lot of water, so it has low porosity. Whereas the water flows through the sand quickly, so it has high permeability. Clay is just the opposite. It holds a lot of water, so therefore it has high porosity, and that water does not flow through it quickly, so it has low permeability. You kind of need a mixture of the two in order for crops to grow. You need to hold enough water that it keeps the nutrients in there, but that it gets enough water so that it's not too dry. So you kind of need medium porosity and medium permeability would be the ideal conditions for crops to grow. You also want to make sure that you know what types of climates are good for soils and for vegetation. So grassland or forest soils are going to be great for growing crops because they get a moderate amount of rainfall. Not so much that it washes away the nutrients like in a tropical climate. A tropical climate gets a lot of water. It has less vegetation, but it has a very thin top layer of soil with nutrients. So crops wouldn't grow as good in a tropical climate as they do in the grasslands. And then something like your desert or Arctic biomes, deserts don't get enough, they receive little rainfall, so they don't get enough rain. They do support some vegetation, just not much. And then our Arctic biomes do not support vegetation because they have a layer of permafrost or a layer of frozen soil. So that's just a brief overview of the things that you want to make sure that you know for your Unit 1 assessment. If you have any questions, please let me know and I would love to review further with you.